You've heard us talk about them. They're in, and they're on the website.
Absolutely. Our brand new America's Diesel podcast, branded bills, badass, flex fit, performance material, sweat stain resistant. It literally feels like it cools your head.
I don't know how that's
amazing.
possible, but somehow it is. Yeah, you can rock it. You know, I'm more of a flat bill kind of guy. You can do that. You can curve it. For all you taco holder guys, you can even throw that in there.
Yeah.
And then snap back with a little bit of the flex fit.
Yeah.
Big head approved, small head approved.
And it's extremely comfortable. I almost guarantee, I say almost guarantee. No, I guarantee this is the most comfortable hat you will ever wear. And the logo, rubber. Awesome.
Yeah.
Came out great.
Super detailed rubber on there, so it's never going to fade on you. If you want to get one of these in your hands, they are $50, shipped to the lower 48, plus tax, if applicable in your state. Just go on the dieselpodproducts.com, search hat, look for the fantastic Jam and Eagle logo, pick yourself up some before they're out of stock.
Yeah.
You're listening to America's Diesel Podcast.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Don. People down here are starting to murmur that you don't have the balls to do it. I don't care! Yeah. I say you can do it. I mean, I don't want you to jump and say you have the capability. Oh, look, he's flying!
People in the diesel community are starting to murmur.
Yeah.
Starting to murmur. Did you hear the thing about Ford? For their I just started seeing it today, for their full-size trucks, like they're short on parts.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Like it's like a big deal apparently.
Well, we're not going to go too deep into this one because I want to actually dedicate an entire episode. But I'm sure we all saw the post by Limited Duty and then Corey Willis about the trucks going to Ukraine that have no emissions on there to begin with from the factory or from Ford.
Yeah. Would you look at that? Global warming, huh? Except for if it's Ukraine or China or India or any other country other than the U.S.
So here's my question, and I'm going to say we're not going to get too far into it, but I'm going to let this kind of go the way it needs to go. Okay. So if and I'm not trying to make light of any sort of what's happening in Ukraine right now. It's fucking tragedy. People dying. You know, I feel for all the kids. I feel for
100%.
Anybody caught in between, and it's not just Ukraine. It's anybody that has wartime going on right now. Like I've never been involved in that. I hope I never have to be involved in that. I hope my family never has to be involved in that. Any kind of and anything other than like a helping aspect. You know, like I don't want to.
You want to know a conspiracy theory that I thought of?
Yes, always, Tyler, always. If you ever ask me that question again, I'm going to slap you in the mouth.
I haven't heard of this anywhere else. This is just something that I thought of.
Okay.
So you know.
Well, time out. By the way, you're listening to America's Diesel Podcast.
Yeah. We're all going to tie it back.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Okay.
So you know how before Biden got elected, there was that whole like Ukraine business dealing with his son and everything. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then they like tried blaming it on Trump with his like one phone call he had with Ukraine. It's like, okay, well now Biden's in office. It's like, why won't there just be a war that just kind of annihilates everything? And now there's no evidence of anything because everything is blown up and gone. And now there's nothing to show the corruption that had happened there in the past because there's a war that's blanketed over every, all the shit that actually happened there.
Yeah. It's just a big game of, hey, look over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're getting off-road trucks from the factory.
Now we're crushing used trucks. It was crushed. Do you see the picture? It did get crushed.
I would have. Oh man.
So now
my honest opinion on that whole thing is that guy should have held fast and said, you know what? No, I own this. This is my thing. If I want to park it in my backyard and use it as a lawn ornament, I have every right to do that. Mm-hmm. If I want to pull it into my living room and use it as my kitchen table, I'm going to do that. Like, you cannot tell me that this has to be completely destroyed when I own it. Yeah. What are you going to give me? Are you going to pay for it? Why don't you give me my asking price and you can do whatever you want with it? Like that. Oh God, that frustrates me so bad because it's just. I understand the emissions thing. Okay, like we're all having to deal with it. It is what it is. But at the same time, that is a piece of my property.
Yeah.
That is mine. I paid for it. I put money into it. I maintained it. You, the government, cannot tell me what to do with my property. Even if it's illegal and it can never be registered on the street again, oh well. Cool. I still want to keep it. That's mine.
Yeah.
Like, there should be nothing wrong with that.
Like, they never said it's illegal to own. They just said it's illegal to operate on the street. Okay, cool.
Which he'd already taken care of that issue. For them to have to crush a perfectly good truck that also he could have sold for parts. He could have sold the engine. He could have sold the axles. He could have sold the body panels. He could have sold the dash, the interior, all that, and made money.
I hope he did at some point, and managed to strip some stuff off. The thing that gets me on that, though, is, with them, excuse me, I burped. We've been drinking barley juice. We just got the live session. But, and the whole EPA situation is evolving every day. We all see those posts and all that kind of stuff. By the way, this is a unsolicited shout out, and it may sound backwards, because they are technically one of our direct competitors as far as podcasts go. The Diesel Podcast, Patrick John Ellis.
Yeah.
He has been doing a phenomenal job talking to people and getting the real deal following as far as the and this is what he does detailed stuff really well. I'm going to go ahead and say that. But following a lot of this EPA stuff. So if you haven't listened to any of his episodes, and I know it sounds weird, right? Because we both said, I want to be number one. He wants to be number one. That's fine, whatever. I think we could both exist in the same space. I think we go about two different ways.
Yeah.
But so I listen to his episodes on that stuff.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there, guys. Like, it's, again, diesel community. We're all friends. Okay, we're one big community. But the whole thing with, the EPA saying race car can't drive on the street. It's like they had the perfect example there. Okay, take away my VIN number, take away my eligibility to be on the street. That's fine. It's not a race truck. Okay, let me go race it. Okay, this is exactly what we said we wanted. A truck that it's 100% illegal to drive on the street, because that's what they're trying to do, right? They're trying to keep race trucks, quote unquote race trucks, where there's no technical definition for, but quote unquote race trucks on the track and off the street.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You literally just took my eligibility to be off the street.
Yeah.
Make it federally for all I care. Like, make an example out of that, but don't crush it.
Yeah. And again, it just goes back to, it's his property.
Yeah.
Like, there was no compensation from the... You know what the EPA should have done? If they wanted that truck off the street so bad, they should have just bought the truck and did whatever they wanted with it. Paid the guy his money so he could get a new truck, and they could have done whatever they wanted with it.
Mm-hmm.
You just pay the guy.
No, they they're making an example out of it.
Well, it's I know the a lot of the stuff we can't fight, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have the bankroll to, to fight that. But at the same time, it's like you can't tell someone to crush something that they own, because are they telling people that have a 70 CUDA Hemi in their garage that would not even pass emission standards for this day and age? Are they telling them to crush it because it doesn't pass EPA standards now? Because it's like, are they telling those guys to crush those cars? No.
And that's not because we want to see that car crushed, not even a little bit. But it's what's the goal here?
Yeah.
What are you trying to prove? What's the end goal? What do they want?
Yeah.
They
want everybody in an electric vehicle.
And Birkenstocks.
Yeah.
And granola.
Yeah.
And long hair, gray ponytails.
Yeah.
Tie dye.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Duramaxes.
Yeah.
This week's podcast episode is brought to you by Fuel Bomb Diesel Additive, an additive designed for diesel enthusiasts, made by diesel enthusiasts. Ben, take it away.
Hell yeah, dude. So this is our in-house Fuel Bomb fuel additive for your diesel truck. Our biggest thing here is making sure that you can pretty much always have diesel additive on you all the time. You've got a lot of other additives out on the market they have, anti-gel in there all the time. They have cetane in there all the time. They end up being big and bulky bottles. Our standard everyday diesel fuel additive is 1 ounce per 32 gallons, and that's its main job is to make sure that your fuel system stays lubricated and prevents the formation of algae. And it should also help you in colder climates too.
Should definitely help you in colder climates. Along with cleaning your fuel system and maintaining it, it'll also help you bump that cetane number up for a more efficient burn of your diesel fuel. And if cetane is just what you're after, there's the Fuel Bomb Hellfire, which is our straight 8+ cetane enhancer.
Yeah, and you guys asked, and we brought them back. We did go away from the bottles that didn't have the measuring little parts in there. We brought them back for you, so now you can measure out your 1 ounce per 32 gallons for the F-Bomb or 4 ounces per 32 gallons for the Hellfire.
Both these additives are available on our website, dieselpowerproducts.com. Now let's get back to that episode.
All right, very short intro. This is America's Diesel Podcast. We talk about diesel stuff and other things. Check us out on the social medias, anywhere you can find podcasts. You can find us there by searching America's Diesel Podcast. We go live on our Instagram account just about every Wednesday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Have a beer with the boys. Tell us what's up, what's good, what's going on with your weekend. I'm going to make this real quick and short. Reviews, we do like reviews. 5-star reviews only. If we don't, we'll kill you. That's not real. Just saying. Screenshot it, send it to Ben at dieselpowerproducts.com.
No, podcast at dieselpowerproducts.com. You can't even do my part.
Can't even do it right. I'm just trying to get through it. I'm trying to get through it because I like this episode. I like the way it's going.
Yeah, go.
But do that kind of stuff, and we'll send you a sticker. If you need diesel parts, check out dieselpowerproducts.com. If you see the Quick Ship logo, it's guaranteed in stock, ready to rock. If you have questions about that part, make sure and call and talk to one of our knowledgeable sales technicians. They're on the phones 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time. If you are placing an order on the website or talking to a sales technician, make sure and let them know that you are a podcast listener. Receive absolutely fucking nothing. But special attention from me should an issue arise with your order or I happen to come across it. But it also does help us keep the lights on, keep the fridge full of barley juice, and let us do this cool, amazing thing that we get to do. Talk on microphones, drink barley juice, and talk about freaking diesel shit.
And this podcast may be recorded for customer service and
Training
quality
purposes.
assurance training purposes.
Okay, so we've got 3 things to talk about today.
Trace.
Actually, this episode's going to have 4 things because we just talked about that EPA stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to, before we talk about that one, Corey, I want to do the snowplow. So before you do that, before you start it, so we do get every once in a while, and we're going to have, if you don't know what video I'm talking about, we're going to have it on the, we'll have a link to it, or if you go to watch, actually not a link to it, if you watch on YouTube, we're going to have the video on the screen. We are trying to make our YouTube videos a lot more entertaining, so you can see what we're talking about, because we have a screen we can look at. So, also, you see what song was playing?
It happens.
Hopes Fall. Yeah,
I love it.
That's classic right there. If you want to get in the head of Ben and Corey, circa 2001 to 2006
slash 2022.
Yeah, slash 2022. It's a band called Hopes Fall. I know a lot of you are probably either too old to care or too young to even know what that means, but there was this genre of music called post-hardcore metal or post-hardcore, and Hopes Fall was...
That's a good one.
One of the greats.
Yeah.
One of the greats. It's one of those things where, like, unless you know of the genre, you've never heard of them, and then you hear it and you're like, so that's what the genre is. Yeah. Yes, it is. They are fantastic. Anyhow, so we get questions sometimes where people are like, I found this truck, and it's in good shape. It used to be a plow truck, but it's not a plow truck anymore. I'm not going to plow. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I instantly hear plow truck. And I'm like, run. Like, why would you have a former plow truck as not a plow truck? And then the other side of that is I for the life of me can't remember his name. I know he's on the West Coast, or on the East Coast. He talked about putting a plow on his L5P.
Yeah.
And it's like, do not put a plow on your new truck if you don't absolutely have to. Like,
right.
Once a plow truck, always a plow truck.
Yeah.
And this is the video why. Someone took a video. This is a 5th gen Ram. Okay.
Let's see it.
So it's a very, very new truck, and what they're doing in this video is showing how the plow does such a good job of not transferring shock should they run over like a manhole cover to the rest of the truck. So keep in mind, this is supposed to be the least amount of shock on the market right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Play the video. It's gonna roll over again. I had to screenshot the whole thing. Watch this. Watch the hood.
He's a Hemi.
So keep in mind, they are trying to tell you how good this thing is about not transferring load and shock into the truck, right?
My Lord.
Okay. So unless you have this plow,
how could they show that as something good?
So
Look at the bumper. That bumper has that moves like at least like an inch each way.
Okay, but keep in mind that's supposed to be the best.
This is the best.
That's the best. So
and that plow's probably what, 15 grand?
So if you think about it, if that's the best, everything else is worse than that.
Yeah, and then the hood jumps up, just flexing.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to display here, and again we're gonna have this video playing for you guys, is just boom, boom, shock load into the hood. It's like I can't aim my headlights. I'm not sure why. Plow life. Okay.
Yeah.
So case in point, if you ever, I swear to God, if you ever call and tell me that you're gonna buy a truck that used to plow on it and daily drive it, I'm gonna find a way to slap you in the face.
Yeah.
Okay. I know this is the second time in this episode we talked about slapping in faces, but they're just, it's not going to end well, especially if this truck was a plow truck and it's had, you know, it's a 25-year-old truck and it had plow mounts on there and they're like rusted to the frame, which means this truck's been plowing for potentially 10, 15, 20 years. Everything on that truck is wonky.
Ouch.
The only thing that truck is good for is plowing. That's it. And I don't mean plowing chicks. I mean plowing snow.
Imagine the tie rods, the steering box, the ball joints, like everything in that front end. The amount of force that was just generated from that is wicked.
And I'm not saying this happens every time you go plowing, but
I'd say it happens a lot of times when you go plowing.
But if you
especially
think about
in unfamiliar like ground, like if it's your first time, like you might smack something even worse than that. Like that's just a small little lip on a freaking manhole cover. Like look at that. Golly.
Yeah.
God, that's wild.
And that's like, this is so good. Watch this. It's so much better than it used to be in the past. Look at that. It only tweaks the frame into the doors.
Yeah, I bet you. It'd be curious to measure the body gaps before that happened, and then after to see if it changed.
Yeah.
Like, cause that's, I mean, we all know these new trucks. Like, the metal that's used on these new trucks is not the same as metal that's used on previous trucks. Like this stuff is, I put a dent in my bed. I'm pretty sure from leaning up against it to grab something out of the bed.
Just the wrong way. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just freaking paper thin. You think he's gonna handle that like over and over and over again? Like that thing's gonna be clapped.
Yeah.
Clapped.
So that being said, folks, please, unless you plan to use it as a plow truck, avoid trucks that used to have plows or have plows on them. Don't think she's a dirty girl. You're not going to change her. Okay?
Yeah.
She's a lifelong.
Unless you've got that kind of expendable.
Yeah. That's what you call a lifelong stripper.
Yeah.
She ain't ever changing. All right. So next, should we do high mileage or Bobcat next?
Let's do the Bobcat.
Bobcat. Okay.
Because this is just so ridiculous.
So the Bobcat, and I'm going to play it on my phone real quick here. So I'm going to play it. Well, it's got.
We'll be fine. I got it.
Okay. So this is, if you don't follow Iron Mike Sharp, he's a bit of a troll, but he says he's kind of a troll. So I love following him because he throws jakes on and loads heavy things all the time. I freaking love it. But he shared a video from Bobcat, and this is the shit that makes my blood boil, because there is such a missed opportunity that would have gained, like, so it's an electric Bobcat, okay? And there is such a missed opportunity in here that I think would have at least gained. I'm not saying you're going to have construction guys saying, okay, I'm totally into that. But it would have actually, gained a little bit more respect. It would have been like, we're trying to figure this out.
Yeah. Before we start this, like, the more and more, obviously the talk on like electric vehicles, they're talking about it all the time. There's California and Colorado and all these places that claim that they're not going to sell any internal combustion engines after a certain date. Okay. to me now, like all of that is virtue signaling, like all of it. I wish some of these companies, like Bobcat, there's obviously not like a ponytailed freaking liberal as buying Bobcats. Like there's a very specific market of people that buy Bobcats, or like equipment in general. I'm not saying that they're all like on the right side of things, but the majority of them are hardworking men and women that are self-sustaining themselves, building a business, doing the hard work that the blue collar or was it white collar? White collar people want to do. Like these are a different breed of people. If Bobcat, instead of doing this, said, hey, guess what? Our Bobcat has the lowest emissions out of any other diesel-powered Bobcat that is out there, and we're producing more power for you to get your job done. Like, here's what we're doing. Yes, we have these standards that we need to meet, but guess what? We've exceeded them, and we are making, the most efficient, the best small machine that money can buy. Here it is. Doing shit like this, you're preaching to the wrong choir. Like I don't know of anybody that runs a piece of equipment that would get excited about something like this at all.
And going back to what I said earlier, they missed the mark by at least relating.
Yeah, there's
and
no.
I'm gonna get to what the relation part is in a minute here, but
that's what frustrates me the most is especially when all these, I can see where like Cummins is going. So Cummins is going going deep into the hydrogen. You've got International doing that
super clean diesel. Yeah.
But again, it's diesel. You don't see these guys going balls deep in electric vehicles because they know that it ain't gonna. It's not gonna fit the bill. Like I wish these guys would market to. Again, they're just going for those brownie points of saying these guys are the electric blah 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 blah. But it doesn't work. Like it doesn't. It's not. It's. Anyways, we'll go, and you'll see why this doesn't work if you guys haven't seen this already. But
so I actually just thought of they're missing one thing, one key component, or one factor to gain a little bit of respect out of it. But second, I kind of have an idea of I think I know why they're doing it. But so go ahead and play the video. So if you were to run this machine in a dig cycle, 100% consistent, you'll get about 4 hours of runtime. So then you recharge the battery. It takes about 10 hours to recharge it. Congratulations, your business is fucked.
Yeah.
It's basically what he said.
It's a part-time machine.
Yeah. So here's one thing that I think if they had done that would have at least shown the people that they're trying to market this to that they actually give a shit. That's not virtue signaling. So what's the best way to put this without just like sounding like a major a-hole or anything like that? Like the type of people that are going to buy this, like Tyler was saying, they're whether you're left, right, up, down, good, bad, happy, sad, black, white, yellow, purple, doesn't freaking matter.
Yeah.
The people that are buying this are people that have to get the job done.
Right.
I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what color your tie is.
Yeah.
The job has to get done because someone's paying you money.
Yep.
Fact. And this tool and this new system I have on there is going to hinder you from getting the job done.
Yeah.
Now, if this gentleman in the video, which obviously I assume is a hired spokesman, clean-cut guy with the Bobcat shirt on tucked into his black pants or something like that, if Bobcat's marketing department or their engineering department said, holy shit, we're getting 4 hours out of this, has anybody realized that the workday is it's never been 4 hours? We can't do 4 hours. If we put out 4 hours, they're going to shoot us in the face.
Yeah.
Like, it just, we're screwed. So how do we mitigate this? If Bobcat had said, look, runtime on this continuous duty load cycle, whatever they're saying, is 4 hours. We understand that you guys are working minimum 8 hours a day. Most of you guys more than that. That's why we also integrated this quick change battery. Each Bobcat comes with 2 batteries because we know you got to get through the day, but we also know that we're trying to make this move towards electric. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about you who has to get the job done. And if they had at least done that.
Okay, at the same time, I agree with you. That is, but isn't electric supposed to be the better thing than what's already out there? So if you're not even exceeding the specifications of a regular diesel-powered Bobcat, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you just made something worse. Like, congratulations. Like, yeah, now I want it because you just made it worse.
Not only is it worse, but it's not even like a worse that you can remedy.
Right. There's no fix.
At least if there was a battery, you could remedy it.
To
a crutch.
Yes.
It's a crutch.
But at the same time, now after 4 hours, I've probably got to spend an hour changing this heavy-ass battery, and then I got to spend money on charging this other heavy-ass battery, and hopefully that thing keeps, like, we all know my super high-tech iPhone that's got this super high-tech lithium battery on it that freaking lasts half the time it did when it was brand new now. So, like, again, I think these guys, I hate seeing companies like this put out products like this when the market that they're dealing with doesn't give a shit about electric. They don't freaking care.
No.
All they care about is how strong is it? How long is it going to last me? How much is it going to cost to maintain? And how much is it new? Like, that's it.
If someone from Bobcat can actually tell us, and I'm going to play a little bit of
Devil's advocate
here, or just kind of like play a little bit dumb. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not an equipment expert. Maybe the scale that they're using as, 100% constant dig mode. Have they done any research as far as, like, on a normal 8-hour workday, how often is a Bobcat in 100% dig mode? Like, if they can tell me, like, oh, it's only that actually 30% of the time. The other, mostly the rest of it's all driving around or lifting, not actually dig mode. Okay, that's fine. But why didn't he say it?
Yeah. I would say Bobcats aren't typically used for, like, digging a hole. Like, it's got a
what
bucket,
they said? They said
dig mode, whatever. But they're not really necessarily like, yeah, I can like skim the top and, like, pick things up. But I would think like a Bobcat is like for those smaller, tighter areas where you need to move dirt, but not necessarily like dig a hole.
Right.
Like, you're not going to dig a hole with a Bobcat. Like, you're not going to get it done in 4 hours.
Oh, no.
Run this machine in a dig cycle.
Dig cycle, whatever that means.
You will get about 4 hours of runtime.
Dig cycle 100% consistent.
Yeah, I wish some of these companies would just have the balls to just be like, listen, electric technology, it ain't there. It ain't there. Our customers expect better from us, and every year they look for the next best piece of equipment. And if we were to introduce this electric vehicle, it's a step down from what we've been doing. Bobcat, we've been around for 100 years making equipment. I know it's not 100 years, but we've been around for 30 years making equipment, and we've been the most reliable, the cheapest to own, the cheapest to operate piece of equipment that you can buy, and we can't go a step down. Like that should be their mentality with that.
Well, and to the point where even their name recognition, there are a lot of people out there when they see just a skid steer
Bobcat.
It's like Kleenex. No,
yeah.
Kleenex. It's a tissue. No, it's Kleenex.
Yeah.
Or a Xerox machine. Like the name recognition is so much, it's so deep ingrained.
Yeah.
And here's even one other thing that, like, and I know I may come off as a little bit of a softie as far as electric stuff go, but like I'm trying to think of it from like a business standpoint. Like, and I have to imagine that they're getting pressure from someone that they have to do this. So if
I'm sure it's someone that instead of claps for something, they do this.
Yeah.
Because clapping is too.
They put down their mocha froca bullshit.
Yeah.
And they were like, by the way, Bobcat, we own 68.
Clapping is too violent.
Yeah.
We need to.
It's an assault on my eardrums.
Yeah, like seriously, you didn't ask me for consent.
Ma'am, sir, Zay, have you ever heard of Cannibal Corpse? Because you're about to. I'm going to play it on full fucking blast. Like, here's how we're going to run this company.
Yeah.
So the thing that I always try and think of, like, how you can make a shitty situation at least, like, how can we win in the end? Like, if we're going to get fucked now, how can we figure out how to win in the end? And if Bobcat is truly getting screwed right now, and they wanted to retain their customer base, there, in my opinion, there's really only one way to do that, and that's kind of put the cards on the table. And if they want to say, ladies and gentlemen, we know that we are going to have to figure out how to do electric right. We're not at, we're going to get better. This is going to get better year over year. We're still going to offer our diesel model, but we're going to offer this electric model, and this it would have to be with a quick change battery. But here's the thing: there would have to be some sort of incentives. They would have to say, it's 2022. Everybody seems to be, wanting to be 100% electric by 2030. We plan to as well. If you have to get the job done and you got to buy a diesel one, that's fine. Buy that one. But if you want to join us on this journey and help us get there, hang on.
I know, but when a company says, join me on this journey, I don't want to be on your journey of screwing up machines.
Right.
I don't want to hop on that ride. I want to hop on the end, the last ride that's perfectly perfected and everything works.
Here's the incentive part. If you buy into our electric line now, we will grandfather you in for discounts
like an
later
iPhone.
on.
Like what is
Yeah. They're going to say like, okay, as we get refined, you will receive things at a premium price compared to those just joining in. It's something to try and
okay. Let
get
me
'em.
switch pages on you. The amount of R&D that has gone into making a perfectly fine diesel powered Bobcat electric. How much of that could they have put back into the diesel Bobcat to make it even better, more efficient, more clean, last longer, move more weight? Like for them to say, like, oh, if you're running this Bobcat at 100% dig mode, I'm sorry, but have you seen a rental Bobcat? Those things are freaking hammered.
Yeah.
Because people run the shit out of those things. Like they're not easy with them. They're probably lifting things up that are way too heavy for it. They're doing, they're everything they tell you not to do, they're probably doing to them because it's like a little machine. They can just, oh, I guess I'll try it with this. If it works, it works. It is what it is. Like it just doesn't. Their cue to tell them like this wasn't a good idea is to look at the market of vehicles, of electric vehicles, especially trucks. When you see tow ratings on trucks that drop by more than 50% because there's a load on it, you have to know that the battery infrastructure is not there, and also the powering infrastructure is not there because it's not there for. That's why you haven't seen heavy duty trucks rolling around that are electric right now. The infrastructure is just not there, and it honestly pisses me off. And I wish some of these companies would just tell those people that are thinking that way, you don't know our market. Like you do not know who buys these things. Like you're so far detached from those people. Like we need to make a quality product that does exactly what we say it will do. That's for a price that they can afford, that is reliable, and doesn't only last 4 hours. Like if I was like the CEO of Bobcat and they said, hey, we've got this idea for this electric Bobcat. It seems like it'd be really efficient. It's going to last on a continuous mode 4 hours. I would have said, nope, get out. That's not, I can run a full tank of fuel in this Bobcat and I can run 8 hours with it, and then it only takes me 10 seconds to put more fuel in it. I can run another 8 hours with it, and I can continually do that all day long. Like that is not up to par.
Yeah. If I was at that point, I would basically be like, I'm not saying, and again, I'm not trying to sound like a freaking lefty over here, okay?
Yeah.
But I understand there's probably extenuating circumstances that they're trying to work with. I don't know if their lawyers are telling them like, if you don't do this now, you're going to be whatever. Okay. I'm assuming, the guy sitting there is getting stuff handed down to him and he has to do it.
Sure.
And if someone brought that to me and said, you got 4 hours, I'd be like, look, I can't go to market with 4 hours.
Yeah.
You
with
got to do
all
something
due
better.
respect, and I mean this with all due respect, fuck you. I said all due respect.
Yeah. You that's very rude. You can't say that.
I said with all due respect. Like again, you can. I think there's two types of examples that can be made. You can either be the first one to do something and you do it half-assed and shitty and it doesn't work and you're setting an example for everybody else to try to make something better than you, or you could set the example of I ain't gonna do that because that isn't in benefit of the people that I'm serving. And I'm going to do this. And this is the example that I'm going to set because now I'm going to make a piece of equipment that's even better than the one that we had before. And that's better than everybody's out here while they're all fucking with batteries and shit, guess what? My machine's going to be able to run circles around those machines. And I'm going to make these owner operators way more money, and they're going to only buy my equipment because they know that I have their best interest in mind. Done.
Fact. Okay, next topic
I just
here.
blacked out again.
Yeah. Unlike in Billy Madison, I think we're all smarter for hearing that. Okay. I don't recall exactly who sent this one to me.
I think it was on the podcast page.
Podcast page, you also Instagram it to me. I can't remember.
It's relatively close. Boise.
Boys, you're not too far away. So first off, as you guys know, I am still on the market for a 3/4 to 1 ton pickup truck, preferably 1 ton. Single rear wheel F350, manual transmission, 4-door long bed, 7.3. I don't mind high mileage. My restrictions on there were I don't mind if it was used as a work truck, but I'm not looking for a work truck.
Right.
If you don't know what I mean, the truck that we basically have in front of us, which we're going to post on the YouTube page as well, is exactly what I'm talking about. So I showed this to the pictures only to Tyler earlier today, and I was like, okay, so this fits my budget. You know that I'm not afraid of high mileage. I'll tell you right now, it's not low mileage. It is a high mileage truck. And I showed him the pictures. I was like, guess how many miles are on this thing?
I said 280.
280. He said 280. It's got 400. Okay. So when we talk about, or like when I talk about not being afraid of high mileage trucks, if you know what you're getting into, especially like for me, 7.3 is my forte. I would not, if I had the money right now, I'd be calling him. I'm still waiting for the 6.0 to sell, the F450, so I can figure out exactly what my budget is. But if I had that cash, I would be calling him to set up a meeting or something like that.
Yeah.
Because while I will say I would rather have something somewhere in the 200s, especially low 200s.
Yeah.
I've been scouring the market now. If you guys have been listening a long time or listening a lot recently, I've been scouring the market since I made that announcement. So it's been about 2 months now. I've been absolutely scouring the market, and I can tell you, as far as something in the 250 to 300 range, finding one this actual clean and a manual is hard to do. The beds are usually trashed. The sides of the bed are trashed. The interior might be okay, but then everything else is trashed.
Right.
And I knew that going into it. My whole thing is like, I don't mind if the truck needs injectors. I don't care if it needs a turbo. I don't care if it needs a high pressure oil pump. I plan on doing all that stuff anyway. But I just want some good bones to work with. And then this one popped up. And we're going to scroll through the pictures real quick here. Go to the one of the front seat. And this...
Just say, guys, it's a 99 F250 7.3 power stroke, 6-speed manual, crew cab long bed, 4-wheel drive, ton of miles. He's like, the third owner. New brakes, service and parking, starts and runs, new clutch, well maintained. It looks it. It definitely shows it.
Yeah. And so what tells you, there's basically 2 pictures that tell you everything you need to know about this truck. And one of them is the picture of the front seat. Yeah. And if you know anything about trying to buy a truck, there is a huge indication of how a truck is treated by A, how clean it is, and B, the condition of the left bolster on the front seat specifically.
Yes.
This thing does not have a tear.
No.
Like, I'm sure if I zoomed in, you might see some of the fabric that may just be like
start wearing down.
Wearing down.
Bit, yeah.
But there is not, I'm not even talking like, oh, you can start to see the foam underneath. I don't see a stitch out of place. In fact, the bolster, it looks like the bolster is just starting to not be as stiff as it should be. It's just starting to creep down a little bit.
Yeah, it's flat now.
And what that says to me on a truck with 400K on it, and also the steering wheel's not fucked up. The buttons are fine. There's nothing. I know you're on buttons. Yeah. The door jambs are clean. The shift knob is clean. The metal, or like the shifter underneath the shift knob where all your fingers rest and usually the paint chips away, it's clean. There's paint there. What that tells me, the far outreach thing is that someone completely redid the interior and detail the show of the truck, which I highly doubt.
But it doesn't look like it's been redone, though. Nobody would redo that and put that same material back
exactly.
in that.
It does have vinyl floors, which honestly I kind of don't mind. But what that tells me is on a seat that looks like that, especially on a manual truck that has that many miles on it, this thing saw a ton of highway miles.
Yeah.
Because and I bet you the hours on this thing for having a 400K, on the chassis and the engine and everything like that, I bet you the engine runtime is less than some like 250K work trucks you see out there.
Yeah.
Because this thing ain't been sitting around idling everywhere. This thing's been moving. It's been driving. It's probably
You're
been
talking like the runtime versus the idle time.
Yes, I'm sorry, runtime. But this thing it keeps scrolling through. But this thing is in beautiful condition. It's okay. It's missing a knob right there for the lumbar support. Don't care. It does have power windows and power locks, which I like.
Looks like a pill container they put over top of it.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Keep cruising. Yeah, back seat's pristine.
Headliner is not sagging.
Even look at the sill where you put your foot to get in.
Yeah.
It doesn't look discolored. I don't even see a chip on there.
Yeah.
Keep cruising. Looks good. The only
some
body
ranch hand
damage
bumpers.
I saw was on the driver's side door lower. I hate body work. I would never do body work. I would take that little bit of damage over a trashed bed, a bashed in quarter panel.
Well, the good thing is they've made quite a few of those Power Strokes in that color. You could probably find a door.
It's tan.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the champagne tan, I'll tell you what, every champagne Ford I've had has just ran. It just doesn't care. It just runs. I mean, the buttons are still there on the cruise control.
I will say I hate that steering wheel.
So do I.
God, that steering wheel looks like
I would
shit.
replace the steering wheel just because I don't like it.
Yeah. That steering wheel is so ugly.
Yeah.
Mine always felt like it was upside down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that one's upside down, and it's just ugly. It just looks like the same thing out of a Ford Taurus.
Yeah. So that's actually the same style, not the same color pattern, but the same style of wheels in the Excursion. But you never know just because it's a different color.
Yeah.
But the truck's immaculate. The only thing that's missing from the listing is a picture of the engine bay, which I'm sure is bone freaking stock. It's got a big old school ranch hand bumper on the front which
and
honestly,
back.
Yeah, which honestly I don't mind. I'd keep them.
Yeah, see
I
that?
freaking like it.
That's Schedule 40 pipe right there.
Yeah, that is a grandpa truck.
Yeah.
So the only drawbacks I have on it, I wouldn't mind if it was a higher trim level, but for this amount of because they're asking 12 for it. It's been down from 16. They're asking 12 for it.
Damn, that's quite the drop.
Yeah. Well, the market's going down right now, which is why I'm
Yeah.
trying to get the 6-liter out of our position ASAP. By the way, if you're still listening to this and looking for a pretty bitchin' 2004 F450 with the 6.0 on it, that's actually in really good shape, fairly low miles. I think like 160 with a flatbed on it. Let me know. Converted to single rear wheel with 37s on it. It's a bitchin' truck if you're looking for a heavy duty truck. If you're looking to get into a heavy duty truck that doesn't look like a heavy duty truck but just looks like a big badass motherfucker,
Yeah,
that's your
that
truck.
truck. Yeah.
Honestly, I would think about keeping it if it was 4-door long bed. I
Yeah.
truly would.
Yeah.
Even though it's automatic, I would want. If it was just a freaking 4-door, I would keep it.
Yeah.
But I'm dead set on having a 4-door long bed. I got to for what I want to do with the truck. Let me know. Get at me. Cash talks. Seriously, this is not a truck sale podcast, but I would if we sell the F450 for at least the minimum I think we're going to get out of it, I would have the cash to buy this in a heartbeat. I would have extra cash. I would have enough cash to cover the plane ticket down and drive it back.
Yeah.
And buy it at their asking price. And I would legitimately feel happy doing it. I would be very happy with that truck. I would probably, I may or may not swap out the rear leaf springs for a set of new F350 because again, 400,000 miles.
Yeah.
Things are worn out, but I know that. I want an F350, so I would probably put bigger leaf springs on the back. It probably has airbags on it already. If not, I put them on there, and I would probably swap out the front leaf springs and just get that truck sitting just a little bit taller in the front. And I mean, it's got a clutch. It probably needs injectors and a high pressure oil pump. Small set of injectors, high pressure oil pump, turbo rebuild, up pipes, O-rings. We did not plan that. I just
I knew it was coming. I was waiting for you to say it, and I was like, rings.
O-rings.
Yeah.
It looks like a stock exhaust. That's going away. But yeah, I would purchase that thing in a heartbeat. Sir, if you in Boise, Idaho are listening to this, which I doubt you are because it's a grandpa's truck, I fully expect the fact that you probably don't even have a cell phone and your like son took these pictures.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this and feel like you want to do a good deed for someone that needs a good truck, talk to me. I do have some cash on hand, but I don't have enough to cover your asking price at the moment, but I will in the future. I'd love to take it off your hands for you. But that being said, with the folks that are out there, they're like, I want a nice truck, but I'm afraid of high mileage. This is the high mileage truck to get. I'm not saying this truck has no problems, but like if you are, let's say, for some reason, I always imagine someone buying a truck like this probably has like an older half-ton pickup that's paid off or something like that. This is not a sell your half-ton, buy this right now.
Do you know what also makes me know that it's a well-maintained truck? Read the listing.
Yeah.
Proper punctuation. You've got everything capitalized that should be capitalized. You have spaced perfectly. Again, they took time to actually write their listing, and again, it makes sense when you read it. When you have a truck that's high mileage and it's just like blah blah blah, a bunch of like you could tell like that person didn't care. Like that person, those small little things make a difference with your listing. Makes a huge difference.
It does, and even the pictures of the vinyl floor. That truck technically has more miles than my OBS did, and the vinyl floor looks nicer than mine.
Yeah.
So, I would consider that a truck that has good mojo. It's got moxie. It's got a little shaky shake. That would be one I would definitely entertain. And honestly, when the F450 sells, if I have the cash still and that thing is still available, it's probably top 3 on my list. I've got a couple other ones that I'm looking at, but that seriously hits all of the things that I want to do, that I want in a truck. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to about wrap up this episode. I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to me and Tyler rant and rave about a whole bunch of cool shit. If you have questions on this or want to talk more, I can't believe the previous episode, I totally forgot to mention, we have our Facebook group.
Oh, yeah, Facebook group.
If you're on Facebook, which Tyler is not, search America's Diesel Podcast, the group, and we will come up. It's moderated by me. The group is growing. I think we're almost to probably 75, 80 people. There are some questions that you have to answer to get in. Please answer them. I appreciate that because honestly, that has kept out some people that I didn't want in there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there are individuals that I don't want, but when I get a listing that says like literally one today was like, this is going to make me sound super racist, but I promise I'm not. It was like Shema Shaquif, and nothing that had to do with this guy was anything diesel.
Yeah.
And I actually had to go into the settings for Facebook and turn off the like suggest this group to people.
Yeah.
I don't want this group suggested to people. I want this group truly
to be
for people
listeners,
that listen to the podcast. And that's why I have those questions on there. That's for you to tell me and show me by answering those that you actually listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
There are several right answers to the podcast. The only wrong answers are if you don't answer, I'm suspicious.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be fun. They're all fill-in answers. It's not multiple choice. They're all fill-in. So if you're not part of that group, I greatly recommend you get in there. I think once we get a lot of people in there and we start popping off, it's going to be a good time. But people are posting their projects up in there. There's been just the right amount of shit talking.
Yeah.
It's a good group of people, and I'm happy to be in there. I'm happy to cultivate that culture. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to wrap this one up. I again appreciate every single one of you tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.